And the title of this video is how many pull-ups for a muscle up. I had a client and he could do like 15 pull-ups, but he couldn't do a single muscle up. What you need to change when you're doing muscle ups versus pull-ups is you have a wider grip and you're pushing your elbows to the side and back. So side and back in a controlled manner. And what you change when you're doing muscle ups is a narrower grip and elbows facing forward. So you're pulling up like this. So it's a vastly different technique. So the answer to the title of the video is it doesn't really matter how many pull-ups that you can do if you're doing them slow and controlled with the pull-up technique. You have to change the technique to narrower grip and pulling with your elbows facing forward. And then the next component is you want to pull as explosively as you can. But I would say like a good baseline strength for muscle ups, 10 to 15 pull-ups, like 20 dips and 30 push-ups. But only to get the joints and ligaments ready for the muscle up, which is a very taxing movement. And I want to say a big thank you to Twixable for buying me 3 coffees. She writes, today I managed to get my first non-band assisted muscle up. Been trying for over a year and honestly I have no idea why suddenly today I managed to do it. Hopefully next time I can reproduce it. So thanks a lot Twixable for buying me 3 coffees, and I'm so happy that you got your first bodyweight muscle up. So tell me in the comments if you have been able to reproduce it. I would love to know. And thanks again. So if you don't know what this Buy Me a Coffee thing is all about, a few months ago I signed up for this really cool site called Buy Me a Coffee, and it's basically a way to support your content creators that you feel have benefited you in a certain way. And in this case you might have benefited from my muscle up tips, and if you feel that that's you, you can always buy me a coffee. So I will leave a link to my Buy Me a Coffee page in the description below. And thank you so much for all your coffees. Great tips as always. Couple of questions. What's your max pull-up, max muscle up? I think we're about the same with muscle ups, doing 4 to 5 reps with 10 pounds and 2 reps with 25 pounds. So I just want to compare. And also I'm on a ship and going on deployment soon. So all I have is a squat rack, but I'm 6'2", so it's short for me to extend my legs and feet straight. Do I just do the same things and just bend my knees while pulling? Or do I kind of do L-sit muscle ups? I feel like the L-sit would be harder. What do you think? Thank you so much for your question. I want to go in depth in a couple of things. So the question of max pull-ups, I would say it depends, because a few years ago I was really into the reps and set style of training. And you know, the goal is to do as many reps as possible. But the thing is, you're doing reps where you're just dropping down into the bottom position. Basically then I did pull-ups like this. So 1, 2. So I didn't control the descent. And in that way you can do a lot more pull-ups. Then for instance, like I'm doing pull-ups now, it's more controlled and muscle mind focus. So coming up, down. Like that, and that decreases the amount of pull-ups that I can do. So at the moment I'm barely training pull-ups at all. My main pull-up movement is muscle-ups, and when I'm at the gym I do like controlled lat pull-downs. The answer is I don't know with the pull-ups, and with muscle-ups I think maybe my max is like 6 or 7, but I haven't maxed out in a while. So that's the answer to your first questions. And to continue to answer your question, so all you have is a squat rack, but it's too short for you and you can't extend the legs. Let's say for instance your squat rack is like this high. When I'm hanging I'm almost here, you know. So I will show you how I would do a muscle up here. Basically I would just use the same technique, and it doesn't really matter if I have to bend my legs, because all we want is the upper body strength anyway. So I would just use the same technique as I'm doing, which is pulling with my armpits and throwing my chest forward. And I will also use a small swing, so that would look like this. And on my way home I saw these bars, and they were also a little bit short, so I just wanted to show you how that would look like. So I bend my knees in the beginning and then straighten them on the way up. So the important thing there is just try to use the same technique as you're always using. Even if you have to do this, it doesn't really matter. And yeah, I would say the L-sit muscle up is much harder. And that's a good thing. So maybe one set could look like a few L-sit muscle ups to bend knees muscle ups for sets. And if I would want to train weighted muscle ups with bent knees, I think that would work great as well. You know, with the normal weight plate setup, because when it comes down to it, muscle ups are almost only about strength. I would say like 90% strength, 10% technique, but that 10% is also very important. But my view is that you will develop your muscle up strength as well on this bar like a lower bar compared to a higher bar. So I hope this helps, and good luck with everything. Another great video, Mike. Great tip I got from you is waiting a bit after the swing and then pulling. Personally, I can do 10 muscle ups in a row, but with straight leg kip. With your tips, I will do clean reps, no kipping. Appreciate that. Yeah, thank you so much for your comment. And I mean, being able to do 10 muscle ups, kipping or not, is really strong. I bet you can already do like 1 to 3 stricter muscle ups, but I would love to know how your muscle up journey progressed. So please feel free to share more in the comments. And the tip that worked for you is one of the main things in the muscle up technique. So you said here, waiting a bit after the swing before you pull. I will demonstrate that. So one of the most common mistakes in our muscle up journey is that we're pulling too early. We want to have a small swing forward, wait a little bit, and then pull up. You want to pull up almost when we are parallel to the bar. Otherwise, it's very easy to get stuck under the bar. So I will show you a rep where I pull a little bit later. So Devin Calisthenics says, for me the best tips were minimal swing, arch the hollow, close the armpits, control the descent in order to get multiple reps. Yeah, I love how all those tips clicked for you. Sometimes just 1 or 2 tips click, but when you can incorporate all of these, I think it will make the muscle up much easier. Thanks a lot for sharing, Devin. And Jake says, thanks for another video, Mike. Doing the 2-point pull-up also helped me a little bit. I was able to do 4 strict bodyweight muscle ups for the first time. That's great, Jake. Congratulations. Like you mentioned, once you properly learn the basic technique, which your videos helped so much with, the small tweaks help a little bit, but mostly you just need to keep training to slowly get stronger over time. Yeah, that's so true, Jake. Yeah, as we get stronger, we don't have to rely on the technique too much to do bodyweight muscle ups. But if you want to go on the weighted muscle up journey, we constantly need to keep the technique in check, also develop it more and more, because things change a little bit when you add weight to it, because how the weight is placed and other things that we won't go into in this video. It's so great that you can do 4 strict bodyweight muscle ups now. You learn the muscle up in such a short amount of time, and that's so inspiring for all of us. Yeah, looking forward to hearing more from you and how you progress on your muscle up journey. All right, guys, so my general warm-up is done. I will start the actual muscle up warm-up with the purple band, and what I have been working on recently is trying to reduce my swing a little bit, and that's what I will do in my banded muscle ups as well. It's important to keep the technique consistent throughout the warm-up and throughout the heavier sets. So my technique at the moment, the cues that I'm thinking about myself, is smaller swing, relaxed core, pulling with my armpits, throwing my chest aggressively over the bar. Sorry for the wind, guys. Hope you can hear me. Continuing with the black band. So what I feel when I reduce the swing is that the mind-muscle connection becomes a lot better. When you're swinging too much, it's easy to lose that mind-muscle connection and actually make the muscle up harder and more injury prone actually. You can focus much more on the muscles you're pulling with, transition, and so on. As you get stronger, try to reduce the swing more and more. You don't want to pull from dead hang, but my experience is when I reduce the swing, it actually becomes easier to transition. So I just do 1 rep with the red band. Alright, so I will do a small jump from the red resistance band to 2 kilos, because 2 kilos is almost like body weight. Alright guys, 4 kilos are on, 1 rep, and then I will decide how my working set will continue, because today I don't want to do singles, I'm gonna do doubles for 3 to 5 sets. But let's see how this 4 kilo feels first. So I decided to jump to 5 kilos for 2 muscle ups. I rested for 5 minutes, and I will do my second set of 2 5 kilo muscle ups. All right, guys, third set with 5 kilo.